The NBA is experiencing a record-breaking drop-off that has never been seen before. Viewership has dropped 48% in the last year, and people are noticing. Fans are falling out of love with the game, even the players and coaches agree there's an issue, all while the commissioner fails to do anything about it. But what exactly is the problem? Well, after searching all over the internet and asking creators and fans, I wanted to figure out the NBA's biggest problems. There are about 5 different issues that everyone can agree on, and in this video, I want to investigate every single one. And the first one is bad defense. It's not uncommon to see crazy scoring performances by not just all-stars, but random players. Teams are scoring ridiculous amount of points in every game, and it's apparent to everyone. Offense is simply just too easy. Or is it? Don't get me wrong, players have become better scorers as time has gone on, and three-point shooting is definitely a factor. But I'd be dumb not to say that defense is an issue. Whether it's the fact that good defense isn't rewarded, instead penalized, or the fact that some players don't try because, again, they know they'll be penalized. Now, where did this start? Because the saying used to be that defense wins championships. It's not that defense doesn't matter anymore, but people would rather recognize good offense instead of great defense. The 2016 Warriors are considered to be one of the greatest offenses in NBA history. Today, they'd be ranked number 17th in the NBA. That is very much an issue. Free throws are at an all-time high, which is probably due to the referees being very whistle happy. There's many tactics that players will use to foul bait, yet refs still call fouls. I think if rules were put in place to make free throws go down, the game would be faster, because free throws obviously are going to slow the game down, and that makes it boring. I think points per game would go down for some, but the best of the best would still dominate. Now, some players don't try on defense, and I do think the fouls play a factor, because why play tough, hard defense for it to end in a foul and all of your hard work to not get rewarded? The craziest part is it's an easy fix. Teach the referees new rules or get new ones. Now, while defense is bad, so is the offense. The amount of threes being taken in a traditional NBA game today is absurd. It's at a record rate, and it honestly is boring to see teams just jack up threes. We live in a world where big men are forced to know how to shoot threes, and if they cannot, they're seen as offensive liabilities. Doesn't matter if you can shoot a mid-range jumper or have a strong post game, or even be a great playmaker and defender. If you can't shoot the ball, then you're considered a liability in certain situations and sometimes are seen as unplayable. My question though is, how bad is the problem? Well, here's some numbers that you might find interesting. The rate of threes taken per game over the past 40 years has dramatically increased. In the 80s, it was about 3.5 threes per game. The premise of offense back then was the post game and being able to score really close to the basket. In the 90s, that number went up to about 11.4 threes per game. The game was moving a little bit back to the mid-range, but big men still needed to have a post game to dominate. Even in the 2000s, when mid-range jumpers became more prominent in the offense, that number only jumped up to 15.7 threes per game. But then we entered the 2010s and something changed. But it wasn't immediate. In 2010, it was still about 18 threes per game. Even the following season, it jumped up only 0.4 more to about 18.4 threes per game. But it was then in 2012, it jumped to 20 threes per game, which at this point had never happened before. Slowly, it would go up a little bit, but in 2016, we saw a rise to 27 threes per game. But why was it such a big number? Well, it was because of one man and one game.
Knowing who they're guarding. Curry fires away and hits the three. Meeting between the two, Golden State scored 73 as Curry nails the three-point. Curry from the corner, another to give the three. Curry, long distance, puts it in. Risky because of the ankle problems. As Curry launches a three and gets the bounce.
See, not 100%, but he is competing.
Curry for three. Step back, three-pointer, bang. Curry from downtown, it's good. Curry from downtown, puts it in. Curry out to Thompson, three-pointer, bang. Ahead to Iguodala. Iguodala puts it up. Huge defensive plays. Curry for three, nails it to the season. Curry, another three. Oh! Westbrook on the drive, falling away. Won't go. Rebound taken by Iguodala. They do have a timeout. Decide not to use it. Curry, way downtown. Bang! Bang! Oh, what a shot from Curry! With 0.6 of a second remaining.
It was after that a realization would happen. You could mathematically score more points if you took more threes. When NBA media heard of this idea, they thought it was a fad, a phase if you will. But it never stopped, and the Warriors became one of the most dominant teams in NBA history. But there's a problem with taking too many threes. If you live by the three, you'll die by the three. The Warriors were great at taking these shots, so it worked. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson were known as the Splash Brothers because, well, they could shoot the ball and do it pretty well. But what if you miss? Not just one, but let's say 5 or 10. Or what about 27 straight misses in a pivotal Game 7 versus, funny enough, the Warriors?
Harden behind the screen, and Gordon for 3. In their grill. Here's Harden. Tucker. Gordon is open for 3. Ariza turning and shooting at his feet over to Gordon for 3. Ariza for 3. Cannot find the range. Is there a point, Reggie, where you stop shooting? Gordon on a step back 3. Golden State Warriors are on their way to a 4th consecutive NBA final.
It turns out it doesn't always end well. Now this number in 2024 has jumped up to 37.5 threes per game, the most in NBA history. If this keeps up, that number will probably surpass 40 a game by 2030, and that's me being generous. Now from a fan's perspective, it's obviously boring because it's just shooting threes with a lot of misses. So knowing this information, how does this get fixed? Well, some suggested limiting the number of threes taken per game, but I don't think the NBA would be okay with that. Colin Cowherd actually had a suggestion that I think is pretty interesting.
I've said before, I would move the three-point arc into the bench, eliminate the corner, move it back a foot, make it part of the game, not the game.
I never thought I'd say this, but I actually don't hate the idea. If it's a harder shot, then people are less incentivized to take it. Sure, the actual shooters are going to adjust. Steph Curry will still be Steph Curry. Your sharpshooters will still shoot at a high level, but guys who are forced to adapt and become shooters will probably go back to what made them great. The fact we live in a world where a 7'4" big man can have a small guard in them and their instinct is to shoot a 3 is concerning. It's also very easy for a fan to lose interest if it's all they see. But what about the people who discuss the game? Imagine it's 2007 and you're about to go to school. You're eating breakfast and you see SportsCenter flash on the screen. You see some highlights, some news, and even see Scott Van Pelt on your TV. Life is good, but what about 2024? Well, in the most simplest way possible, it's a mess. We live in a world where small market teams don't get pushed and they're laughed at. We're forced to hear about the same 3 teams over and over again, even if they're bad. And how many times can you possibly talk about LeBron in the same day? It feels like these guys don't even watch the game. For example, let's take the Houston Rockets, the 3rd seed in the Western Conference and one of the best teams right now. But what did Charles Barkley have to say about them?
They don't have any idea how to play basketball.
Play good defense.
They play the game strictly on talent.
Trust me when I say there are many more bad takes I've seen from this show. I wish that was the only problem in NBA media, but it's not. They're also not pushing players like they should. Giannis and Jokic are the 2 best players in the NBA right now, but Jokic is called boring and Giannis isn't even considered for MVP right now. LeBron is one of the greatest players of all time, but the fact he's been talked about more when he took a small hiatus than Giannis, who's been the best he's ever been this season, it's honestly a joke to see. Players are being disrespected and devaluated because they don't play for the Lakers or the Warriors or the Heat. In 2018, when the Suns were bad, they begged for Devin Booker to go to LA. When Giannis was rumored to leave, they begged him to go to Miami. You even have these clickbait garbage YouTubers making thumbnails saying Giannis to the Warriors. This is the same man who has pledged his loyalty to the team that gave him a chance when he was an 18-year-old kid. I want you to guess who the 1 seed in the Western Conference is right now. You probably didn't know it was the Oklahoma City Thunder because the media doesn't give a damn about that team. Yet the craziest part is they're probably going to end up making the finals. Yet you wouldn't know that because there is 0 coverage.
I think one of the things that the NBA has done very, very poorly is promoting the OKC Thunder, right? They are the exact team a casual NBA fan would enjoy. They have a star player up top. They play that defense that everybody's been complaining about. Oh, the NBA doesn't have defense. The NBA doesn't have defense. This team has the best defense of all time currently. This is the exact team that the NBA should be pushing. But they don't get a lot of nationally televised games, so this is one of their few.
I'm actually so glad I saw this clip of Kenny, because Kenny is an example that you can talk about anything and get views. Here's a video about LeBron that was uploaded about 5 days ago that went live on the NBA on ESPN YouTube channel. That video got about 214,000 views in the first 5 days. Well, wait till you find out a video about Jokic got 380,000 views. Now, I know that says 12 days, but let's add a little bit of context. According to viewstats.com, it took about 2 days for this video to get 307,000 views. Hoop Reports made a video about LaMelo Ball that got 249,000 views in 4 days, which, by the way, the media has begged this man to go to another team. Yet this man can talk about him and still get great viewership. Did you know the Cavs are 24-4 right now? Oh wait, you probably didn't, because the NBA does not care. You know the NBA Cup, the project that the NBA really wants to talk about? Well, some members of the media don't even care about it. Let's also not forget what the NBA said about the matchup between the Thunder and the Rockets. This isn't the ideal matchup. This is gross. This is a joke to covering sports. We live in a world where the NBA cannot market its own league. It doesn't even know who is going to be the face of the league anymore. In fairness, they've marketed Wemby perfectly, but relying on guys like LeBron, Curry, and KD will not last long due to them retiring soon. Now, with the rise of YouTubers getting more opportunities in the mainstream, I expect those guys to be the face of NBA media. I would rather listen to a Kenny or a Legend of Winning talk about ball, or a video documentary made by NBA Nerd instead of whatever the hell this trash is. But yet, this isn't even the worst issue the league faces. Bad referees have always existed in the sports world, but I think out of all of the referees, the NBA is the worst. Whether it's useless technical fouls,
Is there going to be a technical foul,
or free throws that shouldn't be given,
driving, drawing contact,
or straight up ruining games by bad calls, admitting they're wrong the following day, and nothing happens.
over to Randall. Randall got it off in time. Oh, he's cold-blooded.
Now, I'm not a guy for conspiracy theories, but I will remind you this is a league that had Tim Donaghy as a top ref. If you don't know the Tim Donaghy story, I will quickly summarize it for you. Tim Donaghy was a ref back in the early 2000s. He was well known and well respected in the league until the NBA decided to investigate him. The FBI found Donaghy had been betting on games, and in 2008 he was charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud and transmitting betting information through interstate commerce. But that's the part that most of you know. But there's another side that the NBA doesn't want to tell you. See, the FBI, while investigating Donaghy, were also looking into 10 other referees for improper conduct. 9 out of those 10 refs were involved in casino gambling. 2 out of those 10 refs were involved in sports gambling. But unfortunately for them, it was just a lead. You needed proof, you needed hard evidence. So the FBI had an idea. Put a wire on Donaghy and make him talk to those refs to get information. Now, David Stern was very cooperative with the information he gave to the FBI, but many members of the FBI thought the information that Donaghy was giving them was, in their words, bullshit. So they were progressively trying to get Donaghy to wear a wire. But then there was a leak. Tim Donaghy was exposed by every media source you can think of, not just NBA. This would expose the FBI's plan, and they had to abort the mission. Many suspected David Stern was the one to leak this story, or somebody in his camp. Because what if Donaghy did expose more refs? The NBA wanted Donaghy to be the only bad guy when there was clearly more. They wanted him to be the fall guy, him to be the villain, and no one else to be looked at. I will end this segment with one more story. During the 6 months Donaghy was allegedly betting on games, he made 134 phone calls to a referee. His name is Scott Foster. Donaghy was a well-respected referee in the NBA, known as one of the best, yet he had been a part of some of the worst officiating games you had ever seen. But do you also want to know who is a very well-respected referee in the NBA? Yup, Scott Foster. Something tells me that there are more corrupt referees in the NBA. I feel like out of all of the issues I've discussed in this video, this one has a fix that is complicated yet simple at the same time. People can't watch the games. Cable is going extinct and the replacement for it is slowly becoming what we all despised. YouTube TV, which was supposed to combat cable, has fallen into the same trap. A 1-month subscription of YouTube TV in 2025 will be $82.99, yet Contour TV is $61 a month. DirecTV is about $70 a month, and Xfinity can range from $50 to $80 a month. So all of these companies are less than what was supposed to combat the problem. Mind you, YouTube TV is a sponsor of the NBA. It sponsors the damn finals. But if you pay $83 a month, there's only so many games you can watch. Sure, a couple primetime games a day, but that's it. You can't watch your favorite team unless they're on national television. So Hornets fans, you're out of luck. Unless you want to spend $50, $60, or $70 on top of YouTube TV to watch a local channel. So as a fan of the Hornets, let's say, I'm spending about $140 minimum to watch my team play. But what about League Pass? Sure, the price isn't too bad. $17 a month isn't the worst thing in the world. So the solution is to spend $150 a month if you're a fan of a small market team that isn't usually on TV. Well, there is another alternative. Go on a certain website that costs $0 and doesn't have nearly as many playback issues. Well, I don't think it is the main reason for the viewership numbers going down. You can't deny that the rise of illegal streaming has taken away viewers. Now, in fairness, there is an owner who has tried to combat this problem. Phoenix Suns owner Matt Ishbia came up with an idea last year that everyone loved. People from Arizona could watch the Suns play with a free antenna that was sent to your home. It was easy to set up, cost no money, and as someone who personally has had one for about a year, I have zero complaints. While this is a great idea, it shouldn't be up to the owners to have to fix this issue. The NBA itself needs to find a solution to the problem. So what is the solution? Well, that's where things get complicated. Blackout restrictions are an issue. That's something that cannot be fixed right now. But what if it was cheaper to watch the games? What if the NBA took Matt Ishbia's idea and provided antennas to everyone? Maybe not for free because, let's face it, it's a business and the NBA needs to make money. But let's say a $25 price to watch your favorite team play. If you want to watch other games, provide a service that's a reasonable price. Maybe completely restructure League Pass and drop it down to say $15 a month. Have it like Sunday Ticket where you can watch a ton of games at the same time and the quality is actually good. An average fan can enjoy the NBA for $40 the first month, then $15 a month for the rest of the season. The NBA makes its money, fans enjoy it for a great price, and viewership would dramatically increase. In fact, illegal streaming would probably have a big fall off because it wouldn't really need to be used. But that's assuming the NBA cares about you, the average fan, because they tell you that they do, but they actually don't. It's about money and it has been for quite some time. Really, there is only one solution. Get rid of this man. Get a new commissioner, get someone who cares about the game, the players and the fans. We want former players in NBA media, but why? What if they were the ones to help save the NBA? Get a committee of players to take over and have them come together to find solutions. If the NBA wants to save its league, they know who they need to get rid of because it's time to do something before it's too late.